I was just 18. My stepmother decided my life for me. She forced me into marriage with a man I barely knew. I didn't want it. I cried every night. On my wedding day, I felt like I was standing in someone else's life. The dress was heavy. I smiled when people looked, but inside, I was breaking. Everyone celebrated as if it was the happiest day. For me, it was the loneliest. When the ceremony ended, I was taken to the decorated room. Roses were scattered across the bed. Candles flickered against the walls. To others, it might have looked like a dream. To me, it felt like a prison. The door opened, and my husband walked in. My heart raced. I held the edge of my gown tightly, trying to stop my hands from trembling. He locked the door and turned to me. His eyes were calm, but unreadable. Then he spoke in a deep, firm voice. "Take off your clothes." Those words shattered me. Tears filled my eyes instantly. "Please don't," I whispered, my voice breaking. I felt helpless, trapped, ready to be hurt. My chest rose and fell quickly. My lips trembled, and I couldn't stop crying. But then he froze. He looked at me for a long moment, and I saw something soften in his eyes. He sighed, shook his head slightly, and turned away. Without another word, he walked to the sofa in the corner and lay down. He didn't even look at me again. That night, I buried my face in the pillow and cried until I fell asleep. The bed was covered in roses, but it felt colder than ever. I thought he would come back the next day and force me. But he didn't. Instead, he surprised me. When I didn't eat, he brought food and quietly left it near me. When I shivered at night, I found a blanket carefully placed by my side. When tears filled my eyes, he stepped out of the room to give me space. He never spoke about that first night, but his silence was filled with kindness. I started to wonder, maybe he wasn't the monster I imagined. Maybe, just like me, he was trapped in something he hadn't chosen either. Weeks passed. We still lived like strangers. He slept on the sofa, and I stayed on the bed. We spoke little, but I noticed his quiet care. Then one night, a storm came. Rain poured hard against the windows, thunder roared, and lightning flashed. I lay in bed, shaking with fear, unable to sleep. Finally, I gathered courage and walked down the hall to his room. My heart pounded as I raised my hand and knocked. The door opened, and he looked at me in surprise. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. I can't sleep," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. He didn't ask questions. He just stepped aside and said gently, "Come in." We sat quietly, listening to the rain. My hands twisted in my lap, and finally, I found the courage to ask, "Why didn't you?" That night, his jaw tightened. He looked down before answering. "Because you were crying," he said. His voice was low, almost broken, and I couldn't be the reason behind those tears. My eyes filled instantly. I covered my face with my hands and began to cry, not from fear this time, but from relief. He didn't touch me. He just sat there, letting me cry, waiting until I calmed down. That night, I didn't go back to my room. I fell asleep in his, safe beside him for the first time. After that night, something changed between us. He started talking more. Sometimes he asked if I had eaten. Sometimes he shared small stories from his childhood. Once, he even made me laugh with a silly joke. I didn't realize it at first, but my heart was healing. The man I once feared was becoming someone I trusted. We ate together. We walked in the garden together. We began to share moments that felt light and real. And then, one night, I went to his room again. Not because I was afraid, but because I wanted to. He looked surprised, but he didn't say anything. I sat beside him, and after a long silence, I placed my hand on his. He looked at me with searching eyes, almost as if asking for permission. And for the first time, I didn't pull away. When he held my hand back, it felt warm and safe. When he leaned closer, my heart raced. But this time I didn't cry. That night wasn't about fear or force. It was about trust. About two broken people finding comfort in each other. My stepmother forced me into this marriage, but she couldn't force me to love. That choice was mine. And somehow, I found love in the last place I expected, inside the heart of the man I once feared. He didn't break me. He healed me. And the night that once began with tears became the night that changed my life forever.